Hey folks, Sega Sonic fan here with my very unprofessional setup. See if we can get some more light here. Maybe not. So right now I'm working on a CLP-315, I believe is the name of this LaserJet printer. Normally I do not bother fixing printers. They're very cheap. But a color LaserJet is not that cheap. These are a couple $100 and very nice to have. I've been wanting one for a while. I don't know if the print quality is going to be great. This is very much a budget model. But I found this at a hacker space for free, so I figured I'd try my hand at fixing it. It's very broken, and I definitely have had my work cut out for me. So the first thing I needed to do was remove two screws here and pull off this top. Then there's one more screw on the back by the power plug, and then you unclip these two clips here. And I should say first, this is because it would only power on occasionally, and then a lot of times the power light would go off, and I could hear kind of a high-pitched whine. So that really indicated to me you had a power supply issue. And sure enough, that diagnosis was correct. If you look in here, there is a power supply. You can see the capacitors, the two blue ones, bluish purple, and then there's two black ones. There's four screws that hold that power supply in, three plugs you have to unplug. The yellow one has a tab because it's a high voltage plug. It's over on the back. I don't really feel like pulling off this panel again, even though it's partly off. But yeah, so you pull out that power supply and replace all four of those capacitors. One is a 470 at 35 volts. One is a 1000 at 35 volts. And then the two blue ones are, I believe, 1000 at 10 volts. You can do a higher voltage rating if you like. And it's always recommended to do 105 degrees Celsius tolerance because heat is more likely than not what broke those, because they dry out. If I really wanted to, I could put a cooling fan in there. I might do it because I'm crazy like that. But yeah, on to the next thing though. The big part of this repair is actually the friggin' drum, which is what I'm new to laser printers and fixing them. But from what I understand, what I've read, due to some awesome videos, the drum, and here it is in pieces, is what thermally charges the paper and puts the image on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to explain to me more how these things work. I'm totally open to learning. And so the drum is this very fragile green light sensitive wheel thing, which hopefully I haven't damaged too much here. It's this thing, which comes out, and it's light sensitive, so I'm keeping it in a black trash bag right now. You're not supposed to touch it with your finger and all this stuff. So who knows, how much I've hopefully not damaged this thing. But the real fun for this comes with using an air compressor to get all the leaked toner out of this thing. It is a job, and I do not recommend this unless you have access to an air compressor in a highly ventilated room. If you do not have an air compressor in a highly ventilated room and your problem, because I got this to print, right, once I fixed the power supply. Let me back up. This started printing once I fixed the power supply, but I got a lot of lines through my image. Let me show you actually what happened and what led me to going this route. So these were some of the images I printed out. They're not, well, they're pretty bad. I don't know. See all the dots in there? Kind of missing ink stuff, and then you had all these lines through it. The test, this is the test one. That turned out pretty nice, but it's also only coloring part of it. It's not a very good test image they print out. And it's still pretty messed up. This one's not as bad, but still not great, right? So these are pretty lackluster quality, especially that first one. It got worse over time, too. Yeah. Some of this looks pretty dodgy. So, yeah, I realized that, yeah, okay, whatever's printing, however this mechanism works, there's an issue. And sure enough, this is the drum, that's what it's called. And there's the green part goes right in here. There's two C-clips that hold in a rod, an axle that you can pull out to take out the drum. And then you got to clean it. This thing had so much freaking spilled toner inside of it. So much. I've been cleaning it for like almost 20 minutes now outside with with an air compressor. You don't use canned air. I mean, you can, but you're going to use a whole can of air and you're not even going to be 25% of the way clean with this thing. It's really dirty. At least mine was. Yeah, if you're anything like this one, you're gonna have a hell of a time unless you have an air compressor. So yeah, once you do that, there's some videos for this stuff, by the way, for the rest of it that covers it pretty in depth. And you know, I'm new to this, so I'm not going to tell you that I'm an expert by any means. I would check out some of the other videos. If you search like Samsung cleaning the drum, there's some really good ones out there. But yeah, I spray the whole thing out, and then you're going to clean this with alcohol. You want to get 99%, especially for the drum itself. And then I'm going to put this all together, and we'll see what happens for part 2. But I figured, you know, even though there's videos of this already, I figured I'd make one just to kind of give a heads up. You do need an air compressor. Canned air is more than likely not going to cut it. So if you don't have access to an air compressor, you might just want to buy a new one of these. It's a pain of a job. And so yeah, hopefully I'll make a part 2. It'll be all working. It'll be printing better. I mean, if not, worst case scenario, I have to buy another one of these, which I was going to do anyway because the print quality sucks. So, you know, there's this big white stripe through it too. So yeah, you know, better to give it a shot and learn a little bit about laser printers than just throwing it out, which is what I'm doing now. Make sure to blow it outside, use a mask, and use gloves. These are neoprene. You can use probably any kind of gloves, but this is a messy job, so be prepared for that. And watch out for part 2.